Boys, we're talking fusion rifles, everything that has changed with them in Forsaken, and which fusion rifles you should be looking out for. Now the gameplay here is an Erentill FR4. I think I'm saying that right. This one's pretty nasty, and we're gonna go over the rolls real quick before we get into this because I want you to see what I'm going for. First up, I'm rocking this Impulse long zoom sight. Now just like in D1, zoom is directly tied to that damage fall off. Next up, I'm also rocking enhanced battery. Now enhanced battery throws the charge time up to 860. We're gonna get into damage values here in a little bit, but essentially with enhanced battery, I'm hitting 48 per bolt. Now my first trait here is arguably one of the best traits on fusion rifles, especially in this sandbox. Under pressure. Improved stability and accuracy as the magazine gets lower. The reason why this is so good is when you die and you spawn, you only have 2 shots in your mag. So you're already proccing under pressure before ever entering into a gunfight. Believe me boys, this is a very nasty trait, especially if you want to hit those long range kills. And the final trait here is Rangefinder. Aiming this weapon increases its effective range and zoom magnification. So we're tacking on Rangefinder with that impulse sight, under pressure to maintain stability and accuracy, and enhanced battery to bring that damage to 48 per bolt. Now the final thing to make this truly a god tier weapon is this Counterbalance Mod right here. The recoil direction of Erentill is 60, meaning it's not completely vertical, which makes it kind of hard to manage. That Counterbalance Mod makes such a big difference. So let's talk about fusions. What has changed about them? Now pre-Forsaken, let's take something like Main Ingredient. I would say Main Ingredient was the benchmark for fusion rifles. Main Ingredient had a perk on it called Liquid Coils. It brought the charge time to 780, and 780 charge time fusions could still hit 50 damage per bolt. Now the reason why I say that's the benchmark is 50 damage per bolt was the ideal damage. That's what you want on your fusion. This allowed you to pretty much kill any Guardian in 4 bolts, which is very easy to manage. But now here in Forsaken, all fusions got a damage nerf. So take something like Main Ingredient, again, it's now only hitting 41 per bolt, which is significantly lower than what it was hitting previously. Now actually the only fusion rifle that has a sub 800 charge time that still hits 49 damage per bolt is actually Telesto, and that sits at a 780 charge time. All other fusions that hit that type of damage have a charge time of at least 900. Now, a lot can happen in those long charge times, which is why when we talked about our solution when fixing Telesto, I opted that we just increase the charge time to 820 or 860. It's not killing the weapon in terms of damage, but you are attaching a slightly longer charge time, which does allow for a possible counter. So let's identify the strengths and weaknesses to fusion rifles. So first up, let's go over its strengths. Fusions possess one-hit kill potential at great ranges. They're also easy to land collaterals with. So in things like 6v6 where opponents are standing on top of each other, maybe they're trying to cap a zone, those bolts can take out a slew of them in one shot. Also, fusions are very hard to counter. You take a person that really knows how to use a fusion rifle, they are hell to deal with. Somebody that's constantly rounding their corners, always making sure they're baiting you into a lane, it's difficult to go against those players. Now let's identify fusion rifles' weaknesses. They all received a damage reduction in Forsaken, which really shook things up. They require charge time. So if you are not good at pre-charging, you'll lose a lot of gunfights against primaries. And we're not even talking about the large amount of shotgun users that are constantly aping you. They are also very susceptible to flinch. Despite those high impact fusions having great one-hit kill potential, their charge time is really long. And during that amount of time, flinch can really mess with you. And the final weakness, which is a big one, is scavenger perks do not seem to work with fusions. Okay, so now that we got all that out the way, let's talk fusions, boys. Are they a viable option as a special weapon, and which ones should you be chasing? First up, fusions are definitely a viable option. Now I'm not talking about just Telesto. This Erentill is one of the nastiest fusion rifles I have ever used. And it wasn't that it wasn't good before Forsaken. There was just a lot of other fusion rifles that could do what it was already doing with a quicker charge time. So to me now, Main Ingredient is no longer the benchmark fusion that it once was. I think Erentill has definitely replaced it in that aspect. Not only that, it's one of the few fusion rifles here in year 2 that can receive random rolls. So it's already got a leg up on many of them. So without a doubt, guys, a fusion to chase. And I've tried the lower impact, quick charge rate fusions. They are garbage. Guys, I've tried some of the best rolled ones. They feel terrible. That damage nerf that was done to them makes them almost unusable. So the fusion rifles I would hunt for are those in that high impact archetype. Things like Erentill. And in terms of perks, guys, I gotta say, the roll that I have here is the God roll. There's things like Saladin's Vigil 2.0. And the thing that made Saladin's Vigil so good was the fact that you could get random rolls on it and put on a bunch of different perks to make it reach those long distances. But you also have barrel perks like Linear Compensator that gave you that plus 20 recoil direction. Now, we don't have barrel perks like that on these fusions, but we do have the option to apply a Counterbalance Mod. So all of this in combination with rocking Under Pressure here in Crucible and Rangefinder and a long zoom scope, I couldn't ask for anything better on this fusion. So to be specific, the fusion rifle you should chase is the one I'm rocking in this video, boys. It's just too damn nasty. Well, guys, that is my breakdown for fusion rifles. I believe they are very much a viable option here in the Crucible, and they can most definitely go up against shotgun rushers. So, guys, thank you so much for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.